Hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. I'm going to talk a little bit about something that will get you in the long run. Really kind of an experiment this year and a little bit of a mistake. But we're going to cut into this melon and figure out what went wrong. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So it's kind of a nondescript melon. It doesn't look like much. From the camera view, it could look like maybe some kind of a watermelon. But if you look up here really close, you can see that this has some of the features of maybe a cantaloupe. And so it looks kind of weird. Now, one thing I will say about this melon, it is perfect. Mrs. Bowtie harvested an absolutely perfect melon. There is not a single bug bite in here. This melon got put into a organza bag early and was kept secure, and no bugs got to this at all. I'm very excited to have seen that. But this actually came from ultimately this seed packet right here. And this says on here, it is Kajari melon seeds. And here's the original seed packet from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. And there's still a few in here. And when I planted this out, well, actually, let me show you what a close-up, a little bit better close-up of this picture here. And you can see it's a beautiful melon. It looks very interesting. It has a great flavor, but those orange stripes on there didn't happen. And so that's kind of the curious thing here. What happened to this? This thing is very ripe. It's ready to go, I believe, I hope, I don't know, but it just doesn't look right. And I wasn't sure what I was doing, I'll admit. In fact, when I harvested these seeds from a Kajari melon, I was forgetting what could go wrong. And so, anyway, Kajari melon. Let's well, no, I don't want to cut it open just yet. I do have a knife here. We're going to cut it open in a second, and I'm going to taste it. But the Kajari melon is supposed to have kind of a green flesh, based on this picture. I had some last year. It was green flesh inside the melon, and it was tasty. It was a very sweet, almost like a honeydew, but maybe a little bit different flavor. It was good. It was good. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. We had a few of them, and so anyway, what I forgot was that just about 20 feet away from where I grew these, there was cantaloupe growing. Now, I like saving seeds, and I encourage people to save seeds. I also encourage people to experiment, and unfortunately, this experiment got me. That's all I can say about it. But maybe this would be a fair warning to anyone else as well. But here you can see this is what a male flower looks like on the Kajari melon. Well, on this Kajari melon. And you can see here in just a moment, you can see the female flower. And you can see that the female flower in here, actually you can see the little fruit underneath the base of the flower. And that's how you can tell the male and the female flowers apart. So what happens is the bees will fly from the male flower, pick up pollen, and carry it over to the female flower. And sometimes they got it on their back legs, sometimes they've got it all over them. But that pollen goes from flower to flower on the backs of those bees and pollinates the female flowers. Well, what had happened was, now, mind you, my bee box is over by the cantaloupe. So what had probably happened is a bee came out of the bee box. It went to some cantaloupe flowers, as they're given to do, and then it went to some Kajari melon flowers just a dozen feet farther. And so, a couple dozen feet maybe. So anyway, it made this that melon, now that melon last year, it tasted right. But the seeds within the melon, those are what were wrong. Those were what were messed up. Those were like Spock, half Vulcan, half human, for any nerds out there. But yeah, these things were not quite right. And I planted these out in the seed starting tray, and I'll be honest, I did not even think about cross-pollination with these. But now these things here, now when these are grown for, in this case, Baker Creek, they have Kajari melons growing in a location. It might be in a greenhouse, it might be in a field that's hundreds and hundreds of feet, maybe miles away from any other melon growing. And when bees are flying from melon to melon, flower to flower, there was no cross-pollination in them. They are true Kajari melons. Now, this is true of cucumbers, of so many, all kinds of squash and pumpkins and just tons of things that you might grow in the garden. But when the company that grows these, they grow them in a very careful situation where those seeds are not cross-pollinated. Now, coming down to it, let's see what we got. Now, we've already had 2 of these, and we tried them. They were good. They had a mild flavor. They were okay. They weren't the Kajari melon I thought they were. And the fact that it doesn't have much of the color on the outside here, that made me a little confused when I got the first ones. But let's see what we got here. If I open this, you can see, oh, now this one doesn't have the orange of the last 2. The previous Kajari melons actually were as orange as a cantaloupe. And they had a very mild cantaloupe taste, not a honeydew taste, but a cantaloupe taste. So now these look a little different from the ones that we did otherwise. This is completely different again. And here's the thing. One melon may have been pollinated enough with actual Kajari pollen that it didn't matter. This one actually looks a lot better than the other one did. So, and it's a little orange on the inside. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a try. Okay. That has no that tastes like grass. So, yeah. That didn't have any flavor. I mean, no flavor at all. That was not very good. There is good seed development here. The seeds actually look like they're supposed to look. They're thick. But this is most definitely is not a Kajari melon. Ooh, you heard that plink. They're good seeds, but there's no telling what I would get when I plant these. Now this is the lesson here. When you're saving your seeds, you do need to be careful. Now, number one, when you have a hybrid seed, a seed from a hybrid plant, that means someone has already taken 2 completely different kinds of whatever. A lot of times you see hybrid tomatoes, hybrid cucumbers. That means someone has very purposely taken 2 different kinds of that fruit, 2 different kinds of tomatoes, cross-pollinated them, and made a hybrid of the 2. Now, hybrids don't always work out. No, they don't always work out. This was terrible. And in fact, hybrids don't normally work out. So when they're making these hybrids, they really know what they're doing. And sometimes they don't work, and sometimes they do work. And I've actually seen a few things about creating hybrids, and you end up with some. In fact, Midwest Gardener has created some hybrid hot peppers that he's pretty proud of. He reviews occasionally. Sometimes they don't work, sometimes they do work, and sometimes they come out not very flavorful. But crossing two different things to make a hybrid is one thing. Now what's happened here is the bees cross-pollinated the cantaloupe with the kajari, and another melon that I got out of this harvest had orange flesh. It was very mild. This melon here has green flesh, and it doesn't taste like much. It tastes like grass, in fact. If I took these seeds and planted them out, they're only going to go downhill. So I'm not going to be saving these seeds, obviously. I'm not even going to be saving these seeds that I saved from last year. So it's just kind of a word of caution that when you are saving seeds, there have to be certain conditions. Corn is another good example. When you plant corn seeds, they can cross-pollinate from other types if there are any close by, and they can mess up the next generation. So yeah, last year's melons were great, but those got cross-pollinated. This year, when I planted the seeds from that, it's the seeds that got messed up. The melon from that year, when I plant this and planted it in the garden and got the fruit, it was perfect. Everything was good. It's when those melons got cross-pollinated with the bees and the cantaloupe and everything else that it makes some pretty nasty stuff. So anyway, saving seeds is great. There are a lot of things you can save seeds, and I still encourage seed saving a lot. But this is more arming you with some information than anything else. Sometimes those cross-pollinations get really messy. And now tomato seeds, if you've got heirloom seeds, they're supposed to stay the same. And open pollinated things are supposed to stay the same. So those kind of things, you definitely want to save seeds. For me, this was a wake up moment. If I'm going to grow kajari melon, I need to do that at a different time of the season than when I grow my cantaloupe. Now we have a long growing season here in the panhandle of Florida, so I might be able to do that, but in future, I'm going to have to be a little more careful. So it's a good reason to buy new seeds when you're in doubt and you really want something. I really did want kajari melons this year, and I still have some here, and I'm going to use these up. But yeah, tread lightly on those cross pollinations. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that other than well, if you're just stumbling along finding us, please subscribe. We put out videos almost every single day, and talk mostly about gardening, sometimes about life, but please subscribe so you don't miss out anything. If you've already subscribed and you've come back for another video, thank you for coming back and watching. Every time someone subscribes, every time someone watches a video, it helps grow the channel. And if you thought this was interesting, entertaining, inspiring, maybe well, I don't know what the other word is. I am very tired. I just got back from Arkansas. But yeah, so click the thumbs up and share this video on your social media. And there we go. We'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed day.